Welcome and welcome back if you're returning. My name is Mr. Arkrose, and today I'm going to be doing a game review, a video game review to be more specific. There are four things I look for in a game whenever I go to choose and play a game. It's the storyline, the gameplay, the graphics, and the characters. If you can't get involved with the characters, then there's something that the game may not have or may be missing. So that's one of the things, or one of the reasons why I include characters in my category. The game that we are going to be reviewing is Quantum Break. This is an Xbox exclusive game. It is a third-person shooter with a little bit of cover system in it. So I think something like Uncharted a little bit, to where it has that good storyline and you use a little bit of cover to get through some of the situations. The game is developed by Remedy, and if you know Remedy, they make some pretty good stories. As example, Alan Wake. And that's one of my favorite games. So, going through the story. The story is basically a experiment of time travel gone wrong. You play as Jack, who shows up at the university to help Paul, who is a rich scientist, really smart, who has developed a time machine. And as you learn quickly, going through just the beginning of it, things don't go exactly as planned. And as you're playing through, you start developing time abilities, because Jack directly gets affected by the time machine, and so does Paul, who is the other character. Since we're talking about characters, we'll go straight to that. Jack is a motion capture character. The actor has been Iceman out of X-Men and the detective or deputy out of The Following. All the gameplay is motion captured. It is based on real actors going through, and there's even episodes that are live action going through some of the storyline for it, and that's a little bit part of the gameplay mechanics. So the ammo seemed pretty good amount of ammo, so you're not running to that unless you get into the higher difficulties when you get less ammo. Overall, I thought the storyline and the characters were good. They were developed pretty good, to where as you're going through the story, they actually do develop, and you do see changes between both of them. And there's other supporting characters that end up changing as well. And you definitely get involved with the characters, which I definitely like. And there's characters that are outside of the gameplay that you learn really quick are part of the storyline. The graphics, it's not the best set of graphics that I have played in a game, but they are pretty good. I will say that. The choppiness, I think, is due to the concept that time is unstable and everything's chopped up a little bit, so I do understand that portion of it. But again, it's not the best graphics that I have seen, but it's still fairly decent for an Xbox One game. Now, the gameplay mechanics. There are 5 acts in the game, so it is going to take you a little while to go through. There is a cover system, so if you're getting shot at, there's places that you can hide at to shoot back. There are portions of the game where cover can actually get you killed, and it is better to be aggressive. So it kind of comes to where you have to adapt to the game and to the situation that's going on. So that definitely provides that challenge of it. There is 2 sections per act. You got the first one, usually, which is Jack, and you're going through the game third person. This is the portion of it where you're going through the cover system and trying to get from point A to point B. There are different things that you have to do throughout the game, so it's not repetitive, and that's one thing I definitely liked about it. The other portion, the second section, usually is with Paul. And one of the interesting things that they put in this game is they actually give you choices that do affect the storyline later on. So even from the very first act and your very first choice, it does affect characters throughout the entire story, throughout the entire game. Paul is one of the characters that you can develop however you want. So if you want that villain that just goes mad and goes crazy, there's a arc that you can do to go that way. And if you want him to be a misunderstood hero, there's a arc that goes that way. And you can do a little bit in between, but it all depends on the choice that you pick with Paul. With Paul, you're not really doing much shooting on that. It's just down to the choices with him. And some of the things that you run into is you only get 2 guns to hold on to. So sometimes you have to swap out guns. You usually get I don't really count the sidearms as a gun because you always get a sidearm that you get to swap around as well. So you usually get a shotgun, kind of like a full size type gun, and then you get a smaller compact gun that you get to carry, and then you get your sidearm. The other things that you've run into is you start developing different time abilities, then you find different markers that help give you upgrade points to upgrade those powers, and that's another mechanic that they have in there. And there's like going off of another game, there's a survivor instinct going from the Tomb Raider reboot to where you can actually see where some of the things are. Even though you can see them, sometimes you have difficulty finding them, so that doesn't exactly tell you where to go to find them, so it just gives you like a little marker to see. So the gameplay was pretty decent on that. There's only a few situations I've run into where I felt it was overbearing at times, but that's only a couple times out throughout this entire game. So, overall, I would give this game 7 out of 10. There are some things I felt could have made it better, like the graphics being a little bit more realistic looking, like the live actions. I think would have been something that made it better, because since you're playing a game and then you see an episode at the end of your choices, I think that's something that would have made it a little bit more fluid, but that's just my opinion. But 7 out of 10, it's definitely a good game to pick up. Replay value of it, once you beat it, you may just need to go back and pick up some of the collectibles, but that's about it. Some of the extra stuff that you can run into is like when you pick up enough intel items, it unlocks journal items and videos and different audio clips that kind of help bridge along the storyline a little bit more. So that's just my opinion on that. That once you beat it once, and the only thing you'd be doing is going back and getting all the extra stuff to see extra parts of the story. The other portion of it that you might replay it is if you want to go to the different arcs or choose the different ways of the story and see how it goes. That'd be the other portion of it. So if you like third-person shooters, a good storyline, a good adventure, this is definitely one to pick up. If you have any opinions that you'd like to express, please put it down in the comments. Any questions or any suggestions, definitely feel free to put them down there as well. I am looking at the comments, so if you have anything, let me know. If you like my channel, please click that subscribe button, and I will see you again later. You all have a good one.